I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We work for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big.
What's up, JFW family? Welcome back to the Channel 23 podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to reach out and touch the fleet, to engage and inform everyone with all things JFW. Good morning, Brother Jim, Brother Dave, and Super Dave.
Good morning, Jam. Morning, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Good morning.
Happy podcast day.
Absolutely.
Let's get this pledge going. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
I think I heard you, Jam, kind of give that America.
America?
God bless America.
Hey, God bless America. Before we get into the trucker prayer, I just want to give you an update on Rico and talk about something else here. So Rico Christensen says, "Hi Jam, I just wanted to reach out and give you an update as to what is going on with me lately. I really appreciate all the shout outs on the podcast and all the encouraging words. I'm actually going to my 4th treatment today, and I will be listening to the podcast as I'm having my chemotherapy infusion. So far, the side effects have been minimal, but my stamina and strength are very much slowing down. I get winded walking upstairs from my garage. LOL, I'm still waiting on the short-term disability to kick in, and they are still giving me the runaround, saying that my doctors have not sent in the proper documentation proving that my cancer wasn't a pre-existing condition, and they have given the doctors until September 2nd to respond, or they're going to deny my claim. Joanne has been amazing through all of this and is actually working with Lincoln's local rep, trying to get this taken care of. As you can imagine, my savings are slowly disappearing, and I'm starting to worry about my finances. I've actually created a GoFundMe account and would be forever grateful if you could share it with the podcast listeners. Here's a link. I appreciate it, Rico." So, absolutely, we will put the GoFundMe link in the notes for the podcast for today and on our Paycom announcement when I send this out. So, yeah, that's a bummer. I mean, we were talking about it before we started recording. You know, hopefully that gets approved pretty quick and they just give them that back pay. You know,
absolutely.
Still getting through it until you get the money.
Yeah, that's hard. Tough, man. You know, you got to think. Are you prepared for that? And that just goes back to having Rebecca on. You know, they're talking about 3 to 6 months of reserves. You know, emergency or just reserves. Like, you should be able to live for 3 to 6 months with no income. And I'll say I don't think most people could do that.
Yeah.
You know? No, that's for sure, Jim.
Way back in the day, I heard 12 months, Jim.
Probably
used to try to be a year.
Way back in the day.
Yeah, the baby boomers.
A year's worth of house payments, a year's worth of your bills, you know, or I think because the baby boomers were so scorned, they didn't want to go through a depression, or they seen their parents struggle so hard through that era. Like, I mean, we can be broke and still manage to go to the store when we get gas and buy a Snickers or a Coke or a pack of cigarettes.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we're broke.
Yeah, our broke is different than like the Great Depression broke.
Yes.
Yeah, that was super broke. So the other thing I wanted to talk about before we get into the trucker prayer is Paco and Lauren Nahara. They did suffer a loss. Lauren had a miscarriage. So if we could keep them in our thoughts and prayers. You know, just speaking of Paco, the hardest thing for him has been watching his wife suffer. And, we just need to, lift them up in prayer and keep them in mind. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
They're a tough family. They'll get through this. And, I mean, it's kind of funny it's not funny. I shouldn't say that.
It's an expression, I get it.
Yeah, just a term, right? But I think that's so common. Miscarriages are extremely common. I think they're so common. People don't talk about it until it happens, and then I don't want to put words in anybody's mouths, but I mean, I know a lot of people are like, well, what did I do wrong, or what happened, or just things happen. That's life. It gets in the way. And I know I reached out to Paco and said him and Lauren would get through this, and just to give him a bit of information, this, I'm kind of, I guess, tying stuff together, but this Saturday is our mom's, Evelyn's, funeral services. Mm-hmm. And she had a miscarriage, had one before Jim was born, and then she actually had 5 between us.
Wow.
And that's how we got to 5 years apart, basically.
Wow.
We could have had 2 or 3 more between us if they'd, if things would have worked out, but it wasn't meant to be. Right. So yeah. Things work out for a reason.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I'd also add, you hear something about that. I've never been through that with anybody. And, it doesn't seem, I guess, unless you're those people, you don't understand how it feels, especially for Lauren, to have to go through that. So,
can't imagine.
But I will say this, Lauren and Paco, they have a lot of faith, or Paco and Lauren, however you want to say it. They have a lot of faith. And just watching Lauren's, social media through this and her posts, and her faith has not been broken.
Good.
She is strong in her faith. So
yeah, I'm proud of them. I hope the best for them. And like you said, no one can know what that feels like unless you're in those shoes. So hang in there, you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of my closing arguments there, I'll say it now because it says, "Don't fear sadness. It usually sits right next to love." So something to think about.
Yeah, that's deep. All right, let's get into the trucker prayer. Father God, we thank you for the opportunity to go out and do some trucking today. We pray for the safety of our fleet, all of their families, and all the other families and individuals we come across on the road today. We pray for patience and in making of good, safe decisions. We pray to be accident-free and that we all make it back to the comforts of our homes this evening. We pray for healing and 100% recovery for all of our family members that are ill. No matter what, we trust you, God, and it's in Jesus' name we pray.
Amen.
It's kind of crazy. I wonder if I took a snapshot of this. The other day, I was looking through my memories had popped up on social media, and here it is. 9 years ago today, but this was August 21st, so Monday, I was driving here at JFW, and I made a post, and it said, "Dear God, please help me making good driving decisions and protect myself and those around me so we could all make it home tonight." So I thought that was pretty. My trucker prayer hasn't really changed very much in 9 years.
That's awesome.
So funny.
Yeah, I was just, as you were reading it this time, and I know we're going to hack on it a little bit here when we get into that, but about using your brakes. And I was like, "Dear Lord, please let all our drivers,
use their Jake brakes."
Yeah, use the Jake brakes, not the brakes.
That's funny.
Yeah.
As a reminder, anything you hear today on today's podcast is not the opinion of JFWs. It's just the people that work here at JFWs. Not all of them, but the 4 guys here.
Sweet.
Oh, wow. I am slipping here. Somebody say something. I need to pull up the stats from last week.
Oh, yeah. No stats. Dang, you are slipping.
Yeah.
What's funny is we're slipping just as bad.
Yeah.
Actually, you always kind of like to surprise us, so it's not always in there.
It's episode 94, if that helps.
Yeah, so it's not that I surprise you. Usually I like to get the stats that morning.
Oh, gotcha. So we're current.
Yeah, pretty much I usually put the podcast out the night before.
Thought you were just guarding your information, had your little blinders up like, we can't let them see this.
We can fake it. Episode 94 had 310 downloads and 4,000 listens. And
can I remember my password?
Multitasking away. Do.
Oh my gosh. We'll come back to that. When one of you guys are talking about. Let's get into the dad joke challenge. Do I even have a dad joke? That would be nice. Who wants to kick the dad jokes off?
Oh, I'll jump in there since Dave brought it up. I don't know. I just in that frame of mind with Mom's funeral this weekend. So, what do you call a bad funeral?
Oh wow, a bad funeral. I hope it's not Evelyn's. That's all I can say.
A grave mistake.
A grave mistake.
Oh, wow.
That is a good one.
I got one more. So, what did the employee whisper at the coffin of his boss's funeral?
Boy, I can think of a lot of things.
Yeah,
Probably
that could be
not
a low road
appropriate.
thing there,
Right? Yeah.
Now who's thinking outside the box?
Oh, that is awesome.
That one's good.
Yeah, I think that one's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah.
Wow, mine are lame. I pulled two.
There is a lot of funeral jokes, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
There must be. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, I got some Animal Planet interests going on right now, apparently, because both mine are kind of animal. I mean, you can break it out as that way, but why can't you ever trust spiders?
Oh, there's sixth sense or spidey sense. I don't know, Dave.
Because they always post their stuff on the web.
Oh, man. That's pretty
All right,
good.
and then only because it's Animal Planet week for me. So, why did the coach put the frog in the outfield? Oh, this one's obvious,
Because
you
he
guys.
can jump, frog in the outfield.
Rivet.
Because he's really good at catching flies.
Oh, fly balls.
I get it.
Oh,
There
man.
you go.
That's funny.
That's better than that one I couldn't get my head around this morning. I was like, I don't get it.
You go with some of those, and you're like, how much common sense do I really have? Because
Yeah.
you can't come up with it.
Right?
So obvious.
Do you guys know
Terrible
where
at
bad rainbows go?
Bad rainbows.
Yeah.
Is this PC?
Yeah.
Where?
It has nothing to do with the woke community. They go to Prism. It's a light sentence, and it gives them time to reflect.
Man,
That one's good, too.
That one
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
That's almost Confucius.
Yeah.
JR actually gave me that one this
That's a
morning.
good one,
That's
JR.
good.
Good
That is
job.
good. It's
Yeah.
like hit after hit after hit.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do that. Confucius say, where do rainbows go?
That's
So
funny.
I'm going to hit y'all up with a gun joke.
Oh,
Gun puns?
Yeah.
Love
well,
it.
I don't know if you call it a pun, but Jim, have you ever played Russian roulette?
all the time.
Do you? Yeah. Did you know 5 out of 6 people agree that Russian roulette is safe?
5 out of 6 people.
Wow.
That's as good as my
Funeral jokes. That's almost a funeral joke. Right. That's terrible. I love it. That's crazy. 5 out of 6 people.
Man, can you believe
You're thinking outside the box, Dave.
Man, can you believe, of course, I had to do a password reset to even get into Podbean.
Oh, man.
Yeah, what a
Jam.
bummer.
Of course.
But I'm
This
here.
is rough.
It is.
It's a rough start.
So episode 94 did well. It had 589 downloads.
Wow.
Good.
Yep. So here we go. And then total downloads, 45.3 thousand. And I don't know how many followers we got. So we'll just leave it there.
I thought we were looking to break 215.
Yeah, it was 215.
Okay.
Now you got to look.
Okay.
We got to know.
There we go.
We're on a need to know
Because
basis.
we were on
Jam,
212 or 213.
We need to know.
We were at 211, I believe.
211.
So my account, dashboard, 90 profile.
Oh, man. I put the pressure on him.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to go back with the music, Dave.
Oh, what was the number we were trying to get to?
215, I
yeah.
thought.
We have 215 followers.
You just made that up.
I did not make it up. What does that say, Jim?
215.
215.
Nice.
Good job, everybody. Thanks for
Yeah,
following.
thanks, everybody.
See if I could tell who our last follower was.
The very last one.
Baruch.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Yep. New guy. We're actually going to get to him right now.
Yes.
New employees. I missed this one. Luis Torres started in the Wash Bay, not this week, but the week before.
Oh, welcome, Luis.
You
Yeah.
did.
And then our last follower on the podcast, the one who put us at 215, Baruch Tesfa Michael, started this week along with Luis Ibarra.
Yeah, welcome
Nice.
you guys.
Yeah,
Yep.
welcome
to the
aboard.
fleet, guys. And then, as you guys heard on the podcast last week, Tracy Holloway joined the dispatch team this week full time.
Yeah,
Very
welcome,
cool.
Tracy.
Yeah.
Welcome, Tracy.
Yeah, full time. Welcome.
Welcome to the JFW family,
Yes.
everybody.
Welcome
Yep.
again.
Yeah, welcome again.
Yep.
Yep.
Celebrations, anniversary. Oh, this one's great. I like it just because it's mine and Oswaldo's anniversary.
Yeah.
Along with our being our work anniversary, it's when he became my work wife. So, 5 years ago Sunday.
Proud of you guys, Jam. Thank you
congratulations.
for everything both you guys do for us.
Appreciate that.
So cool.
I'm proud of this and not proud of this at the same time, but this is the first time I've ever worked somewhere for 5 years. And when I say not proud, I don't mean I'm not proud that I've been here 5 years. I'm saying it would have been good to have that history before, but I've never been somewhere for 5 years.
Well, thank you for honoring us with your wisdom and your talents.
How's it feel?
Thanks for not firing me.
Jeez, if I'd have known you were such a job jumper, Jam, I don't know.
Robert Shaw, he hit 1 year yesterday.
Happy anniversary, Robert.
Alan Chili Dog Martinez hit 3 years. Will hit 3 years tomorrow.
Very cool.
Thanks, Chili Dog.
Yeah, congrats, Chili.
Gerardo Sanchez, he'll hit 2 years this Friday.
Awesome.
And then Jacob Riley is going to hit 4 years this Saturday.
4 years out in the shop.
Busy time of the year.
Yeah,
Good job, Gerardo and Jake.
Lots of anniversaries.
Yeah, before you go on, Jam, I kind of looked it up, and I know we have a lot of people past 5 years and all your stats, but I don't know. I was interested. Do you know the average amount of time a man lasts in a job? What the average is? Do you ever,
anymore, it's probably like
what era? What generation?
It didn't say that. And they did it by men and women. Is how I have my stats.
That's
so
5 years.
So 4.3.
Ooh.
So congratulations, Jam. Absolutely. And you know what the average is for a woman?
10.
I was going to say longer.
No, I was shocked. It's shorter, 3.8.
Wow.
And I wondered if that was to do with family and kids, maybe. And I'm not trying to profile, but
having babies,
having babies,
lack of drive,
and so and so now, see, you're going to get in trouble for that one.
Just kidding.
And then I thought it was funny, so I was like, okay.
He meant lack of driving ability. I mean, no, not that. What were you trying to say?
That what happens after 5 years, or what's 5 years considered? Is it a mark? So now you're tenured.
Oh, I am tenured.
Tenured. That's what you at 5
years. You're tenured?
Considered tenured. Yeah,
that's such a weird term,
right?
Aren't we fully vested here at 5 years?
Yeah.
So fully vested in 401k.
Fully vested. Yep.
Nice.
And that's part of being tenured. That's usually what happens when you're tenured. Is you're vested.
Yeah.
So
thank you for that, guys.
Yeah. And then usually if somebody
congratulations.
5 years and more, that you've shown passion for your role. Of no matter where you're at. And
Very cool.
And both you and Oz, the description is perfect, because you both show passion.
You know what Marty would say about that, huh? No. Welcome to the club, SA.
You come on over to the club tonight.
Man, I mean, I'll just say it's been a good 5 years. It's went quick.
Is it been fast?
It's been fast, man. And it's like, we've had lots of laughs. There's been some tears along the way. You know what I mean? I mean,
that's what family's about, right?
Absolutely.
Ups and downs.
If I look at it, though, I mean, this is probably the only place where I've been where you can, disagree with a leader and then
still be tenured.
Still be tenured. Oh, man.
In that 5 years, one of my claims to fame is I made Super Dave the maddest he's ever been in his whole entire career at JFW. I've
just
never
like
been
if I don't come and join you for coffee, you're just a driver, right?
Yeah. So that comes back to because I was a driver here at JFW and I did jump, and I was getting ready to go and I was saying goodbye to Super Dave, and he lives in Lafayette and I was going to church in Lafayette, and I said, hey man, let's go grab a cup of coffee one day. And I could tell he was kind of like, Super Dave. And I was like, well, if I don't hear from you, I know I'm just another driver. The next time I talked to him was when I came back. Funny. All right, birthdays. Alex Reza, his birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Alex.
Happy birthday, Alex.
Manny V has a birthday today. Happy birthday, Manny.
Happy birthday, Manny.
Ray Davis, birthday tomorrow.
Oh, wow. Happy birthday, you guys.
Yeah, happy birthday, everybody.
Man.
And Mike Bortz has a birthday on Friday.
Wow, so Ray and Mike are twins. Oh, no, they're a day apart. They're a day apart twins.
It was a long delivery.
A few years.
11:59 and 12:01. Twins.
Could be just a minute.
Happy birthday, guys.
I wonder if there are twins with different birthdays.
Oh, I bet
There's
there
gotta
are.
be.
Oh, yeah. There has to be somebody.
Somebody was at that
had the
12.
odds. Yeah.
Yep.
And then family birthday celebrations. My daughter's birthday, Bella, her birthday was this past Sunday. So
Happy birthday, Bella.
Happy
What'd you
birthday,
guys do?
Bella.
we went up to Boyd Lake, did some fishing, didn't do any catching, and then did some swimming.
Nice.
So it was a good day. Stopped by my parents because they live in Loveland and hung out there for a little bit. And
Very cool.
Yeah, sounds like a good day.
Yeah.
Shout outs. Mike Bortz's daughter called to give a shout out to 0069. Dan Hawk happens to be the driver of that truck. The Iceman, we're calling him now. She was behind him on I-25, and Dan was doing a great job being safe and mentioned how shiny and great the truck looked. Awesome. Nice job,
Absolutely.
Dan.
Yeah.
Good job.
Where did the Iceman handle come from?
Have no idea.
Yeah, I thought he was the Duke after the
After the spill.
century. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jim named him the Duke, or you guys named him the
No,
Duke.
we just
That was in my little
Oh, you named him the
story that I read when he was in his wheelchair.
yeah.
Duke. So
right,
you gave him that name?
Yes.
He's changed it.
Because of his grit.
Might have been because of the icy ladder. I don't know. Anyway,
Iceman cometh.
Either
I don't
way,
know.
he still
I
has
see him
grit.
come in his car, and it's got like a icy sheen on it. He keeps it spotless
Yeah,
too,
okay.
along with the truck.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I don't know.
Ray Davis wants to give a shout out to Stingray. Stingray helped him change his mud flap in minutes. A true teammate and brother, always there to help out.
Good job, you guys.
Yeah,
man.
I'm not
awesome.
sure why Ray was having to replace a mud flap, but actually I got on him for something now that I think
What?
about it. Yeah, because he had one
Torn or
inside
shorter,
out.
or-
He had the anti-spray stuff to the outside, and he's like, I think he gave me one of those, like, it's always been like that, and I'm like, oh, that's even worse. And then he was like, well, I was going to change it, but I'm waiting for somebody to tear it off. And he was, we were giving each other a hard time.
He was
Ray.
giving you the excuses, huh?
Yeah. Thanks for changing it, Ray. And Stingray, thanks for helping him change it. Way to go.
Absolutely.
All right, discussion.
Oh, did we miss one?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget him?
Oh, yeah.
How can I forget about Troy the Cowboy Hunt? He wants to give a shout out to Bear. That would be Robert Lincoln for helping him with his tarp. So
Nice.
Good job.
Bear.
Thanks, Bear.
Yeah.
All right, time for the discussion. Let's get into, so number one on the list. So Evelyn's celebration of life is this Saturday at 10 a.m. at Crown Hill with the reception afterwards until 1 p.m. Everyone is welcome, and this was written by Jim. I just don't know how everyone can attend with the Saturday workload. It is going to be live streamed through the mortuary site as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jam. And I just, I kind of know that, Stingray, Rick Gray, if Dennis, if you're listening, Ron
Watkins.
Some of the guys that knew Mom that were here when she was still working here and stuff. Yeah, if they can attend, you're more than welcome. If you didn't get the notice, I know it's short notice if you just hear about it now. And, if there's, people here that would like to attend, if they can make it, that's fine too. It's just open, and it is truly going to be a celebration. And I just wanted to know it, we've just got so many thoughts and prayers over the last basically month, and I know I said it before, but thank everybody. And if you can't show, Dave has some good friends that said they were going to attend the funeral, and Dave's like, and they usually fish and do something on the weekend. Go fish. Go catch a fish for Evelyn. You don't have to come to the celebration.
Celebrate her.
Yeah, I mean, just life goes on, and she lived a great life. So.
Yeah.
the peace lilies keep rolling in.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. And yeah, Holly, we had a whole discussion, Jam. I know Dave didn't take his home, and then Janet said Janet wanted it, and Holly's like, oh, I'm learning that they need more water than what they that I thought they need, and the other one is looking sad, and she was so concerned, and then I brought another one home. She goes, oh, I got to water it. Yeah.
Yeah, the peace lilies are a little tougher than I thought, because you guys got us peace lilies when my brother-in-law passed, and I know one of you guys was saying, oh, they last forever, and
that's what I told Holly last night. Yeah.
But they could be a little tricky. My wife's pretty good at taking care of plants, and We've had ups and downs with the peace lilies.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we're not giving any peace to our lily. It's not, we're getting over it.
You mean it's in pieces?
Yeah.
We had one took a beating while we were gone with Sam, and Janet kind of finally realized, she's like, I think I forgot to water that one before we left. And then it went an additional 4 days, you know what I mean? And we got home and I'm like, what happened? Did a burglar jump in and land on the plant? Or like, it was just all collapsed. Everything.
Wow.
Man, it's come back. We even set it outside. I was really shocked at that. And it did really well outside.
Yeah, we have one. We put it out every summer. And
Oh,
it's
really?
great. Yeah. You do have to water it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
it is.
They are thirsty.
It is funny how you can take an inside plant and put it outside, and some of them just thrive. They just love it, like an animal meant to be outside.
Plants are so funny. This is what I've learned from my wife having a plant business. If you got a plant and it has a problem, it's either not had enough water or it's getting too much water.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Or it's got too much sun or not enough sun.
Right.
So all the answers are too much or too little of one of the. And it's just like
And you just got to figure out what.
we just got to figure out what.
Yeah.
It's either
Isn't
too
that
much,
a lot
too
like
little.
people, though?
Yeah. Well, I'll
A little
say
too much alcohol, not enough alcohol.
yeah, if the leaves are dry, it's not enough water. But sometimes they'll get like brown spots on them, and they get kind of not dry brown spots, but like brown spots, and the it's almost like the skin of the plant gets a little papery. That's too much water.
Yeah, too much water, yeah. Yeah, it's like it's molding almost,
Kinda,
right?
yeah.
Crazy.
All right. Trades for the community. Trades for my community update. That was the function that happened over this past weekend. Paco was a big part of that. Just pulling up his text message here. So he said, good morning, guys. Wanted to give a thanks to JFW and the JFW family. Trades for my community was a success. We had Master Apprentice, Bianco's Electrician, Pipe Fitters Local 208, Denver Housing Department, and RTD was hiring on the spot with $4,000 bonuses.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's fantastic.
We had Randy's truck driving school, in which he donated a second CDL class. So remember, he was willing to donate, like he capped the tuition at $4,000.
Yeah.
But then he actually went and added a second donation.
How
So
cool is that?
That's pretty cool. A scholarship, one guy that won was very emotional, saying how he had been trying to get a scholarship to go to truck driving school, and he actually won.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Man, it was a really good event. Shout out to Veronica for all her help, too. She was giving out information on how to get a grant for CDLs. Thank you, everyone. Don't know exactly how many people were there, but we gave away a little less than 500 meals. Thanks to everyone. God bless. And also, he ended up raising $3,990, which was $10 short of his $4,000 goal. So
Sure.
just right there.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Yeah, really good stuff. Yeah, that's definitely God bless. That's good.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Also, this should have been in the shout outs, but he wanted to give a shout out to the girls for the gifts that his wife received for their loss, and he really appreciates the detail. We all know where that detail comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joanne is a expert at doing that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got us a wind chime when Athena passed, and I was just like, I mean, every time we walk in the house, boom, we hit it. You know what I mean? Just to make it sound off. So, good stuff.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, sadness sits right next to love.
Yep. George Quintana, he is doing a clothing drive, and this is kind of cool. So George came up to me yesterday. He's like, hey, does JFW ever give away clothes? I'm like, well, we give away clothes to the drivers.
And hats and coats.
Yeah. So obviously I was like, well, what's going on? And he's like, well, my kids all work at this Sinclair. He's got 3 kids. They all work at the same Sinclair. And he's like, and there's a homeless guy that's around there that got jumped the other day. The guy's 70 years old. He got beat up. Everything he had was taken from him. So he's like, I'm trying to get some clothes put together. My kids are actually going to bring him home, cook him a warm meal. We're going to wash the clothes that he has, and we're trying to get him some clothes. He's like, my clothes won't fit him because I'm a 3X and he's a medium. So he's like, is there any way you could announce it on the podcast? Absolutely. So if you got some clothes at home, around a medium, I'm sure the guy could fit into a large, perhaps. You know what I mean? But see what you're not wearing. Go through your drawers, and if you're not wearing some shorts or pants or something like that, give them to George Quintana so he could pass it along to this guy.
Nice.
Yeah. It might be off the subject, Jam, but just you telling the story, I'm just like, who would jump a homeless person? And then you're just hoping, I don't know why, it sounds terrible, I guess, my thought, but hopefully it was another homeless person that was more distress than he was. You know what I mean?
They took his food stamps. They took
man, it's just
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, and then as far as what George is doing, very cool. People are going to do a clothes drive, right?
Yeah.
But to bring somebody into your house,
that part.
That's above and beyond.
Yeah.
Let him use your shower, wash his clothes while you're feeding him. I mean, that's some true, generosity there.
Yeah, that's mankind the way it should be right there.
Yep, no doubt. Next on the list, we got an email from Aggregate Industries, or you may know them as Wholesome. And they wrote, and this isn't really so much directed at us. It wasn't an incident that we did, but we just want you to know how our customers feel about things. Okay, so they wrote, we cannot have trucks and drivers showing up hours before we open and staging on roads, highways, in the neighborhoods, etc. We have facilities and locations with neighbors and beside major roads where trucks block access for local commuters. This is a safety risk, and I need to address it. We have been approached by local authorities about concern voiced by local residents, and as a result, we will continue to support local authorities in issuing any sort of violations or warnings they need to conduct. These sorts of issues put our business at risk of operating, and we need your support in following the rules and restrictions by arriving at our locations during the time of operations.
Yeah, absolutely. It's back to the same thing, Jam. Can't we all get along? And part of getting along is not being there an hour before or half an hour before, blocking a driveway, idling your truck, setting the air brakes, peeing outside,
Who does that?
Yeah, nobody wants to see the anaconda, and all that kind of stuff.
Or the inchworm.
Inchworm, yeah, whichever. So, yeah, it's all about that. And there's, let's not jeopardize the place we get our products.
Yeah.
We just can't do it.
And that comes down to start times, too. Sometimes we have a later start time, or, if you're told, hey, start at 6, there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
There's a reason for everything, isn't there?
Yep. Pay attention to detail.
Yep.
And again, like you said, when I got the email or seen the email, it was not directed at us as such,
right.
But it's education, so let's not be one of those when we go, hey, nobody's ever here, and we show up early.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was nice because they mentioned the plant they were having trouble at, and it's like, well,
we don't haul out of there.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Kind of don't even know where that was at when I saw it. I'm like, what?
Is that in Colorado?
What pit is that?
Yeah. But we do haul down to where some of the restricted plants. Plant 13, Castle Rock Ready Mix.
And 13 is
Plant
not
13. Yeah, we can't be there before 6 a.m. and we can't be there after 6
But
p.m.
historically, we've always had trouble at Morrison Quarry and Platteville because everybody wants to get in line early.
Right.
So they
be the first to
out front, and so we've heard this before about those plants. So what do you want to divulge the name of the pit they were talking about? Or
I don't remember it.
Oh, okay.
It was unique. It was like
it was way different. Super Dave,
like South Hubbard pit or something like that. Dave. It was. None of us had ever heard of it.
I'll try to search it real quick.
Yeah, I mean, Morrison is located on such a main road.
Yeah,
and, you're really blocking up that road, Highway 8 there.
Right. Mm-hmm. You almost want to be.
I totally get that.
At first you want to be devil's advocate and be like, well, why don't they open their gates and let us in?
Oh, I thought that so much.
Right? You know what I mean?
Back in the day, it's like there's room for 100 trucks inside the gate.
Right, but you remember at Old Thornton, Dave, we would fill the pit and then be blocking the street.
Yeah.
Scout Island.
You know what I mean? So
Scout Island.
Yeah, Scout Island.
That is the old J2 pit. I was looking up Wholesome on the
There you
internet
go,
the other
Dave.
day. That is J2.
There you
We
go.
used to call it J2, but they bought that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
We didn't do much out of there, but we did some
A little
stuff,
bit, yeah.
I remember going up to Barl. I mean, we would all line up. You know, you get there and there was like some, a couple different pull-offs on the road.
We'd stage a couple of roads away, and
Yeah.
then at 5:59, we'd start rolling really slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have swept out there a time or two.
Yeah, wouldn't want old Doyle yelling at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I just had some terrible times in that pit.
It was rough.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
He was not the best.
Yeah, it was the other guy. Was it John?
John.
John's the guy I had a problem with. I remember I pulled like 3 feet further out than the other trucks or something. It just pissed him off, and he
Yeah.
just came over with the biggest bucket of sand and just boom, dropped it in. Went back, grabbed another big bucket, boom, dropped that one in. I'm like, I hope he's going to grab a pinch. Nope, grabbed the third bucket, boom, dropped that one in. I knew I was overweight, and I was tempted to just dump it right there, like just
Raise your trailer.
raise my trailer right there. And then I was just like, well, two things. One, what if it's soft? I was like, not trying to tip over here. And then two, let me take the high road. And I just went and dumped it in the trim area. They had a full load of sand over there. But
Yeah, Doyle. He loaded me one day and overloaded, and I wasn't paying attention to the buckets. But I'm like, God, that just seems like too much. And then he gets on the radio and goes, because he could tell it was too full. And he was like, "Oh, I must have got lost in my loader tracks." Well, there's just loader tracks everywhere, right? And I'm like, oh my God. So like you're saying, you had to go dump, and because you couldn't really trim it, not a full bucket. It was just too difficult.
yeah,
Yeah.
just
At one time, Doyle put 2 buckets on the back of my trailer.
It's just like
And
spilling.
he's like, "Oh, sorry, I lost where I was. You're gonna be heavy on the back." Like, thanks, Doyle.
Yeah, the stuff running over the rails, you mean?
funny. Who wants to take this next one? Anybody passionate about disc brakes and Jake brakes?
No.
Not here. We don't care.
All right, moving on. Understand
I love them
both.
Yeah, they work
Love
so
the
well.
disc brakes, love the Jake brakes.
They work so well. We use them all the time, right?
That's right.
Which ones?
Well, not enough of one of them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we're I don't know. We have this era of drivers. It was kind of like we were talking about earlier before the podcast about the men and women that were in World War I and World War II versus what we might have today or whatnot. And it's just a different time, different technique, and this is what the podcast is about: is to help educate ourselves. And when we all learn to drive. And, especially Jim and I, we were taught to drive from not only a driver's standpoint, but a mechanic's standpoint and wear and tear on the truck standpoint. We had to look at all these aspects because, if someone was too hard on the brakes on the truck, that someone was the one who had to replace them, right? Today you can blast through a set of brakes in 6 months and be like, oh, shot, put new brakes on my truck. Oh, good. And off you go. You don't think twice about it, right? It just comes easy. And, when we were taught to drive, here's the deal. You used that engine brake to stop the truck. It was a goal not to use your foot brake.
Right.
That was the goal. I mean, you wanted to literally get to the stop sign and literally come out of first gear if you could even grab low and Jake to the stop sign. So you literally were almost stopped, and all you did was step on the brake, and maybe there was one tire revolution, right? When you came down the street to our yard here at the stop sign, that was the goal. You didn't come down at 35 miles an hour and just hammer the brakes and stop and then go. And I guess these are some of the things we're fighting is, number one, the disc brakes work so well, it feels like you're in a car. You don't get brake fade. It's pretty damn hard to smoke your brakes because it's just a little pad, and it's working so well compared to that great big shoe in that drum. And so if you do see smoke on disc brakes, it's really bad. I mean, it is really bad.
Really bad.
But here's our goal, and this is what we need to shoot for each and every driver. And we've got so many loads coming out of Fairplay and Fry's for that fact. But you can come down out of the quarry, out of Fry's quarry and come down the canyon
and virtually never touch a brake. So easy, unless you go over the top. And those are some of the things that we've talked about is we want to educate you to come over the top of I-70 out of Fry's Quarry under 45 miles an hour and maybe touch the brakes one time just to slow you.
I was going to
one
mention
application.
That. You'll hear some of these guys that are professionals be like, "Oh yeah, I came down and I only stabbed my brakes twice coming down."
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's somebody who's paying attention to how things work
Yes.
and operate. And it's almost a challenge. Like, he was probably disappointed he hit it twice and would have liked to have done it once. So,
Yes.
You could.
He's like the perfect John, right? You know what I
Right,
mean? Wants to be
exactly.
perfect and not wear those brakes out.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, the brakes are just, it's 100% maintenance. That engine brake, it is designed to slow you down. It is designed to stop the truck. It is designed to carry the load. And the brakes on every single truck we have here, the engine brakes on every single truck we have here, are absolutely amazing. Compared to what we had 30 years ago, the engine brakes of today are amazing. I mean, in theory, we should be getting 200,000 miles out of a set of brakes. And there's a few trucks here we're lucky to get 50. We are lucky to get 50,000 miles out of these brakes, and it is all based upon your driving ability. And I'll say that one more time. It is based upon your driving ability. And we need to do a better job at teaching how we need you to drive that truck, because the bottom line is you come down off that hill, you're still needing to be under 45 miles an hour. But let the engine do the work. Let the truck do the work it was designed for, not the brakes, not the foot brakes. Those foot brakes are there, to me, in a case of emergency. And everyone knows we have a geofence set up around those 45 mile an hour spots. If we get an alert that says you're over 45, we're on the phone calling you. We really don't hardly get any alerts. But what we're learning is everyone's coming off of there in 11th or 12th gear with one foot on the brake. They're just riding that brake pedal all the way down, keeping it under 45, when what we need is for you to let the engine hold you at 45 miles an hour. This means you need to get back to driving. You can't just put your head somewhere else and go, oh, it's an automatic, it'll take care of it, or set the cruise, or whatever the case may be. You need to think it through and go, oh, I need to be in manual mode. Oh, I need to be in 9th gear. Oh, I need to be focused, because the minute I crest this hill, I need to be going slow enough, the engine will hold me and I won't need to use my foot brakes, or whatever the case may be. And there is so many spots now coming out of Fairplay that with a huge portion of the fleet. I mean, I think last week, every day, we averaged over 80 loads a day coming out of Fairplay, and we're kind of being inundated by some brake issues. We've had a couple guys smoke the brakes, and it just is not good. And how do we emphasize that truck will hold you with very, very, very minimal brake use? I mean, truly, if we have a truck and trailer here that's not getting 100,000 miles out of a set of brakes, and that should be the minimum. That should absolutely be the minimum. We have failed in teaching you how we need you to drive. And it's not how we want you to drive, it's how we believe everyone should drive. And I guess my point further to that is we talk about being better. We talk about being together. We try and provide these excellent pieces of equipment, the trucks, the trailers. We try and keep everything meticulously washed. We talk about how shiny the fleet is on a daily basis, how many times we get hit. Oh, we see you all the time. Your trucks are always clean. Well, are we the fleet that's always going down the pass with the foot on the brakes? And we're barely in control. We're maxing out that air system. The brakes are getting so hot that they're on the border teetering smoking, when, man, in actuality, chill out a little bit. You're not going to get 4 loads out of Fairplay. It's not going to happen. So relax, Cadillac a little bit. Let the truck do the work for you, instead of you working so hard to hold that truck. Let the truck do the work for you. But you need to tell it what to do instead of just stabbing those brakes and stabbing those brakes and stabbing those brakes. And it's just something we're going to start monitoring much more because our shop is being inundated by brake jobs. Yeah. And it just really shouldn't be with how well disc brakes are. I mean, they're amazing. They should add 25% to our brake life, and they're not. Wow. So we're struggling right now, and it's some training that we need to do, and we're going to have the safety team start going through and basically riding with everyone just to see how we're coming down the hill, because even though we're not getting alerts of being under 45, is that because you're letting the truck do it on its own like it should be, like a true professional, or is that because you got one foot on the brake riding them all the way down the hill? Well, that's what we're going to find out. So, yeah.
You said 200,000 miles, huh?
Oh, you could go 200,000 miles here locally on a set of brakes, Jim.
And that's what the super singles will last as well, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I'd be interested to see a guy with a brand new setup, if he can make the brakes and the tires.
Wouldn't that be something?
What about the drives and the steers? How long do they last?
Man, the drive should be going between 120 and 150, really, okay. Jam.
And steers a little less than that.
Yeah, steers we fight. That's a continual fight. I think we're better now that we have a little more weight on them. We're not getting the funky wear anymore, but yeah, I mean, we should be getting 100,000 miles out of a set of steers, Jam. Right. I know there for a while, I don't want to blame any tires, but, during COVID, just getting tires became an issue. And I know we ran some tires that they were a steer tire, but we sure weren't happy about having to use them. They weren't our brand. They weren't our. I think Mike has actually switched to is it a Bridgestone
on the front
on the steer?
Yeah,
Jim.
Yeah, it's a Bridgestone also. It looks like a drive tire,
or is it a Continental?
No, I'm pretty sure it's a Bridgestone. Yeah.
It's tough for me because back 10 years ago we were 100% Michelin.
Yep.
Steer drive trailer. Yeah. I mean, it was Michelin all the way around. And
yeah, we're almost 100% Michelin now. It seems the opposite, except for the capping.
Bridgestone.
I mean, Bridgestone. Yeah.
Right? Because I know we're running Bridgestone and Continentals on the back. I know we've tried to set a couple sets of Continentals.
Yeah, I don't see
on the back.
I guess it's Continental. They must be from one of the tire guys separate. Because we have the Bridgestone account, so I see those tires all the time, Dave. Yeah, I don't pick them out of A&E.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention, Dave. I mean, you were politically correct through your whole description, and
don't go down the low road, Jim.
I feel like, we're talking about it, but are we reaching the people? Are we reaching a new guy? Yeah. Does a new guy understand that? And yet
might not even be a new guy.
Well, that's what I was going to say. We got some reports on how the old guys are doing it.
Yeah.
And basically, Dave said it I don't know how many times that we failed to teach you. Well, we failed and you failed as a driver. Because if you're not getting $200,000 out, or $200,000, 200,000 miles out of a set of brakes, you're a loser. You're a loser.
You're a loser.
I'll say you can't drive. You are not a driver. And I want to be, I want to be happy about it or whatever, but we're talking about money and expense and stuff to the shop. You've just taken away your complete safety net. And here's the old thing again where we've heard complaints. Back when I was a driver, back when I used to drive, all that other shit. When I used to drive, our trucks were shit compared to what we have today.
Right.
Go up the hill go down the hill at the same gear you went up in. Well, that's because the truck barely made it up in second gear. It didn't have all this torque and horsepower. And then going back down, you're like, oh my God, did my brakes smoke? Am I going slow enough? Because the old pad brake, they wouldn't stop you.
Yeah. No.
I mean, Jim, we were taught to go down the hill two gears under what you went up the hill.
Yeah, and we got guys just flying off the mountain like they don't even get it.
Right, because the brakes work, the disc brakes work so well.
Yeah,
it's just like a car. Oh, I need some brakes. Ooh,
even the engine brakes work that well, though.
Yeah, Dave.
The old C12 Cats, I came down Floyd Hill at 20 to 25 max.
And then or dropping out of the tunnels, Dave. That was what 13, 15 miles an hour, and you were touching the brakes.
Yeah, right out of the tunnel.
55.
It was a little bit less.
55. Shoot right out.
For the first 200, 300 yards, it's not that steep.
Yeah.
But you had to gear down right at that point. As soon as you got past like the parking area.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't remember, Jim. I'm really thinking it was right around 25.
20? Yeah,
25.
I think the reason I was spitting that out is I think it was like 13 minutes to the bottom or something when you do it
That sounds
that
about
way.
right. Yeah.
Something like that.
Depending on
Dave.
what gear you came out in.
Yeah, exactly. 55, you were down it quick. But yeah, I guess I can't stress how much we have people driving the trucks like the cars, and I guess it's the conversation of like we had earlier of, we all believe that, the people that were in World War I or World War II and, even Vietnam or stuff like that, how badass those young people were. At 18 years old, you were asked to die for your country, and how our subject came up before the podcast was drinking. You can't drink at 18, but you can go die for your country. And how many young people served for our country and how they've came back, and a lot of them, have productive lives, but what they had to endure. And I think the same thing as a truck driver is, hopefully we'll never have another world war. People today don't understand that and won't know that. Well, we'll never have trucks like we did, 40
Back
years
then.
ago.
Yeah.
And now we have these new trucks that should be, they should never really break down except for the technology, but the basis of, brakes and tires and all that kind of stuff. Our
Engine
liners,
horsepower, engine torque.
Yeah, liners in the
braking
trailers.
horsepower, braking torque.
Yeah.
Meaning engine braking horsepower, engine braking torque.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just went over that yesterday with me, Dave, on the different models.
Yeah.
The pack car is what, 650
670
foot-pounds
braking horsepower.
braking horsepower.
Yeah.
And
I don't mean foot pedal. I mean engine.
Yep.
When you flip the switch on and the engine brake comes on, you have 670 braking horsepower to slow that vehicle down.
Wow.
Off the engine.
Yeah. And same with the Freightliner.
It only has 510 horsepower to get you going.
Right, and you know how they run,
right?
Especially compared to the old ones, and those are the technologies that we see, and yet we're wearing brakes out in. And man, that's a safety issue.
How can we have 670 braking horsepower off the engine?
Yeah.
And we're wearing brakes out. How is that possible?
Yeah, and when you were talking about
those
it,
are
Dave,
choices.
Yeah,
those are choices you make when you're driving.
Because your choice is not to be the best driver you can be.
Yes.
Because we used to have to shift and gear down, like you're saying, Dave, Jake, all the way to the stop.
You prepared.
But that was being cool.
Well, yeah.
That was cool. Stepping on your brakes now, it doesn't matter. Nobody's being cool.
Yeah.
And now you have an engine with a computer and an automatic that if you just let it shift or you manually work it, it's easier than what any of us ever did.
Yeah.
And yet it's not being treated that way. And it's just, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. We used to panic teaching someone how to downshift coming down a hill.
Right.
Think about this.
When they missed.
Right?
Missed the gear.
Couldn't get it in gear?
Yeah. You're like, okay, you got to get the engine RPMs down to about 1,500 tops. Because when you kick it, when you have to get that to downshift, you need to raise it all the way up to 2,100. And we're going down an 8-degree hill with 80,000 pounds.
Right.
You have to try and explain how every single thing works. And now it's nothing. You click that lever and it damn near downshifts as long as you're under 2,300 RPM. Mm-hmm. If it can get that next gear, it grabs it and slows you down. So the technology is incredible, but we're kind of wasting it, right? And this is almost like the campaign for the safety has no blind spot. Maybe we need the catchy phrase for this, and Jared needs to incorporate it into the orientation class and discuss it along with, our backing safety practices and our lean and look and where our blind spots are. And
we could call it Jakey, no breaky.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah,
Except for they're not Jake brakes anymore.
Yeah. Engine brakes.
They're engine brakes.
Yeah.
The way I used to train people to come out of the tunnel and go down the hill is you want to do it relaxed. You want to essentially keep both your feet flat on the floor. You don't need your fuel. You don't need your foot brake. You don't need the clutch. You put it in the gear that is, as Casey so aptly called it, your sweet spot.
Yeah.
And then use the stages of the engine brake to control your speed. If the speed's picking up a little bit, go to high, the third stage. If that slows you down a little bit too far, then drop it down to stage 2. And that will mitigate your speed. But you're just relaxing, looking at the beautiful scenery coming down the mountain. And then if something happens in front of you, and this is the big key, all of these cars are coming by you at like 65, 70 miles an hour. What if 3 or 4 of those cars pile up along with an RV travel trailer or something?
Yeah.
You have 100% of your foot brake to use
Absolutely.
in case you've got to stop.
Absolutely.
That was what I was going to lead up to, Dave, is that it's that what if, and might be a stupid way to think about it, but I think about, if you're treating your significant other or your wife, you treat her like crap and you're fooling around and you're going to the bars and all this other stuff, and poof, they end up, leaving you. So what's the difference when you treat that truck like crap and you really need it to break that one time? What's going to happen, Dave? There's nothing there.
Gonna leave.
It's going to leave you, right? And you're going to, kill yourself, kill somebody. You're going to roll it. You're going to do something, and you just can't. You can't come up with enough stuff to get through try to reach the people.
The other day, one of the night mechanics was a little frustrated with some of the drivers, and he used the term steering wheel holder, right?
Yeah, instead of a driver.
Yeah, and I just chose not to engage with that in that moment just because it's better for me to think about things sometimes. But
it is better for everybody to do that.
Yeah. Yes. I just don't like where I go when I don't. So anyway, just thinking about that though, it's like I understood he was frustrated and he was being derogatory when he used that phrase. And I wasn't offended, but it is offensive to think about you are a Class A CDL driver. You are a professional. What are you doing to perfect your craft? You know what I mean? And this doesn't go for all the drivers in the fleet because most of our guys are amazing.
I was waiting for you to finish, and I'm interrupting you, Jam. So go ahead.
Yeah, most of our drivers are amazing. But if you're a person that just got your CDL and you have done nothing above and beyond to perfect your craft, you need to reconsider that. You should know that coming down the mountain is different than driving on flat land. You should know what it does to your brakes. You should understand why the trucks have Jake brakes. Just because we don't have 13 speeds anymore or 10 speeds, doesn't mean that there is no skill to driving.
Right.
So you could be, as this mechanic put it, a steering wheel holder, like going to deliver this rock, or you could be the best at what you do.
Yeah.
The choice is yours.
Yeah.
I still love to, it would just be so nice to break it back to, we have somebody that's just extremely hard on brakes, right? Like they roll through brakes at 40 or 50,000 miles. I would love to bring them in and have them do the brake job.
Right.
They jack the truck up. They take the tires and wheels off. Right. They have to take the old brakes off, get the caliper off, replace the rotors if the rotors are junk. And you do that once and you learn how things work and you're like, oh my God, that is a freaking ton of work. And how much money was that? And yada, yada, yada. And then the same goes with, we're fighting that puddle. We have it here in the notes, but we're fighting all the water over there at plant 2. Mm. We don't need to drive in that and do a U-turn and then back up. Let's turn around in front of it and just back to it and tell the loader, hey, slowly bring the material out here, or whatever the case may be, for the rock trailers and stuff. And I guarantee you, if you have to wash that truck one time, you're going to take a little better care of it. Yeah. You're going to drive around those puddles. You're not going to want to drive in the soup. You're not, you know what I mean? It just, all of those things make you better. It's kind of like that term, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? Mm-hmm. Well, when you screw up and you have to fix something yourself, it makes you appreciate it more, right? Mm-hmm. And it's not that this is a screw up. It's just the fact of kind of life. It's a learning curve. How do you learn if you haven't experienced it, right? It's just easy to go, hey, I'm not sure how my brakes are. Would you check them? And, the next day you come in and you got brakes all the way around your truck and trailer. And, we've possibly could have been doing something else. Or, you take a pool of, say, 30 trucks that are overusing their brakes. The amount of money we would save on that would help us provide raises for you.
Absolutely.
You know, and we've proven it. We pass that on. Our goal, your guys' financial welfare is one of our number one goals, right? Everyone here is our front line. We need them financially healthy. We need them physically healthy. We need their heads in the game. And this is part of our discussion, right? This is part of our education. All we can do is talk about it. All we can do is try and educate on it. And then all we can do is learn from it and continue going. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, it's funny, Dave, as you try to talk about each stuff on here, and I mentioned it with Jam and Oz that, and you kind of brought it up, Jam, is these guys, if you're new and you haven't done anything, you haven't shown a bit of passion for your role. And your role as a driver. Right. And if there is no passion there, then you are just holding the steering wheel. Yep. And so many people we interview, and you talk with them, and we talk with them and stuff, and what's your goal? What do you want to do in 5 years? Oh, I want to own my own truck. I want to own my own truck. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're treating our truck like that, you won't own your truck very long. No. I can absolutely guarantee it. Because one, you probably don't have the knowledge to work on it, like Dave just said. Pull the tires off, have the air guns, the air hoses, the compressors, the sockets, the facilities, the jacks, to pull your tires and wheels off, do the brakes, everything else. And then if you can get all that done and you are capable of that, then you have that monthly cost that you just incurred, and you miss one load. Let's say you're sick. You're not going to be successful.
Right.
But you're also not successful here. And you have to look at that all the way down the road. If you're not successful in our truck, you'll never be successful in anybody else's truck. I just, as I was sitting here thinking about it, when we had the little party over there for Marty, Scott DeFelice came down the road, and he's got his own truck, but I know how Scott drives. I know how his passion for trucks, and as I'm getting older, I don't necessarily like the Jake brakes, the loud pipes, but he came all the way down Forest, and guess what? He jaked all the way in there. That wasn't to be cool. Well, maybe it was a little bit.
Yeah, it was.
But
yeah, it was.
No brakes. Yeah. He has to change his own brakes. He doesn't if he's nothing on that truck wears out if you use the engine brake.
Right.
Nothing.
Yep.
And that's so stupid, you guys, to wear the truck out when you could just use the Jake brake or the engine brake, and you have an automatic transmission. You don't even have to move your foot.
I want to throw a challenge out to the 5 guys or girls that get one of the new Western Stars. 200,000 miles for your brakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we can go back and look. I think Potter, he was in the same truck. I know Dennis was in the same truck.
Yeah.
Chili Dog got a new truck, right? When one of the new Pete's. We got several guys we can go back, and then that's where we come up with the 200,000, Jam. Is what are the guys we never talk to, the guys that are doing it correctly. Yep. That's where we get our base number. Well, these 5 guys got 200,000 miles out of their brakes.
Yeah, we just started a test 2 days ago that people don't even know about. We took and we're trying some new drive tires, and we bought 2 sets. Well, naturally, we want to see what the best driver can do with them, and we want to see what the not best driver can do with them. So we've got 2 brand new sets of tires out there running against each other, and no one even knows.
That's funny.
Right?
I bet some guys are going to be looking at their tires today and be like, am I the best or not the best?
Are those new tires or old tires?
Huh.
Yeah, and I shouldn't say best and not the best. What I'm getting at is, someone who's really easy on a truck and someone who works it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. And we can easily pick that out.
Yeah.
You can look at your scores, your reputation, calls in, dispatch.
Hats off to Pup.
Breakdowns.
Pup was always the best on tires, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He really, that dude.
He was a driver, though, Dave.
He was, Jim.
He could drive.
Yep, yeah, sure was.
He'd get the truck in places that most people couldn't, and yeah.
And he wouldn't even think anything of it.
No.
He would just smile.
You'd say, he'd pull his pants up or hold his one side of his pants up, but yeah.
Oh, Pup.
Yeah, God love him, right?
Yep.
Man.
God is loving him. He's with him.
Yep, absolutely.
Next time,
do we need to move on, Jam? Move us on. Move us on.
Moving along.
Stop us from talking about brakes.
Move along.
Do you guys want to talk about company radios?
Stop us from talking about brakes.
Break puns.
Dave, you
Let's
never
take a
eat
break.
snacks, man. Check him out. He's like whooping up on some licorice over there. He's so not the snack guy like that. That's like Super Dave having a donut or something. Like, Dave, do you want lunch? Nope, brought mine.
Yep. Yeah. If it didn't come from your house, we're all in shock right now. Understanding, I even offered him food for his dog yesterday. You want some of the best dog food you can find in Colorado? Nope.
Got some at home.
It's okay. You're just a driver.
I'm just a driver.
Steering wheel holder.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Cup of coffee? Nope. I'm good.
His dogs are at home going, what the hell is this crap? I mean,
They would be pissed
As he's sucking down a bag of licorice.
oh, glad we can joke.
Working over the Twizzlers.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk about company radios?
Yeah, just something else that's a tool jam that can be used better. You know, I know, our handheld radios. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed the handhelds because they're on our hips or whatever. You know, I had Jose say good morning, and he almost says good morning every morning.
Buenos dias.
I kind of notice when he's gone when we don't hear a hello. But he happened to be on channel 1, and our handhelds don't operate on channel 1. They don't get out.
Yeah, the clarity on channel 1 has just been terrible lately.
Yeah, and I couldn't even key up and get a beep this morning, Brother Dave. So, I had to wait, and then when I got outside, I noticed it was, on channel 1. I switched to channel 4, and then I know we've been discussing that over the last 2 weeks or so here, and a lot of people don't even know there's a scan button and how the radio works, and, having your radio on. And I, last week or 2 weeks ago, when we ran out of fuel at the fuel island, I announced it I don't know how many times trying to catch the people that came in, and I see the trucks light up, and I had one guy pull up to the fuel island, and I said, "Hey, do you got your company radio on?" "No." I said, "Well, we've announced, we're out of fuel. I'm just trying to save you some time." "Well, maybe I should turn that on."
Yeah, think.
I just couldn't answer that, and it's just a
we
tool.
train you to turn them off, right? They're a distraction. Company radios, that's a distraction. You need to shut those radios off.
When we were driving,
No good. Need no stinking company radio.
There's no good information going to come out of that company radio.
Right. When we were driving all the time, me and Dave, a lot of times we'd have to take a phone call, or like even the guys today, you turn it down in the pit, but I would go, "Oh man, my radio is down." I would turn it back on and then get on the radio and go, "Hey, did I miss anything? I had my radio off. I was on the phone. Sorry, is there anything we missed?" Just for the communication. I mean, think about how many times we did that, Super Dave.
Oh gosh, and I'm an advocate of that. If you're in the middle of a tough dump, or you have to pay attention to a loader operation. I was going to go there with the dog food thing. It's all about the dump. I thought I'd not do that.
If the dog's leaning and it's going to tip over.
You do want to shut the radio off so you can concentrate on what you're doing.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But
just like
remember to
loading up
turn
at
it
the quarry or
right
something,
back on.
right?
Yeah. And when you did forget, you'd be like driving around, toodly, 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 and think, gee, that company radio's been quiet. And you look up at the company radio and it's off, and you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
So then you turn it back on, and you do what you said, Jim. You get on there and say, hey, man, my radio's been off. Have you been trying to get a hold of me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that when you call for somebody on the radio, and I'm famous for it. I'll just keep calling. I'll call like 7 times in a row. Then pretty soon somebody will get on, and you realize one of their friends called them on the phone and said, "Hey, Dave's trying to get hold of you on the company radio."
Oh yeah. I used to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Russ.
I'm not a friend. I do that a lot. If I hear somebody trying to first I'll pull up their Samsara and see if they're in the truck, and then answer your radio.
Yeah.
Hello there. And then they do say, "Oh, thanks. Go ahead. This is 0025 or whatever."
There is a joke about calling and being like, "Were you trying to get a hold of me?" Anyway.
Nope.
We already talked about the puddle at Plant 2. Are you done on the radios, Jim?
Did we talk enough about the puddle at Plant 2? or anywhere?
Did we talk enough about the radios?
I think we.
Okay.
I mean,
We got them both?
I guess if you have any questions about the radios, come get us. If you don't know what the scan is, if you don't know what channel 1 is, if you don't know what channel 2 is.
I have my ears turned off. Did you already talk about the scanning in channel 1? Did you hit that?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, man.
What?
On the company radio, the scan button to turn it on and off is labeled S for scan.
Okay.
And then when it's on, you should have a little circular deal up above the channel indicator on your screen. And when you turn it off, that little circular thing disappears. It's like 2 arrows in a circle.
Yeah, and when you turn it off, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, because I don't stare at those all day long. It just shows channel 1.
Yes,
Or
it's
whatever
just
channel
whatever
you're on.
channel,
There's
and,
no
and-
circle.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it doesn't.
You need to look at the radio display and be sure there's not a number across there. If I'm not mistaken, that means it's in scan.
No,
with,
the number is up there too.
is it
Yeah.
along with the?
Yeah,
I mean, I know
whatever
the little scan circle is tiny.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The channel is always indicated by whatever the last channel whoever keyed up on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just
So-
didn't think it was displayed when it was on scan
It is.
until you key up.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I must
So-
just be thinking of our company radios. No, our company radios show it too.
The
Huh.
problem that we're having is somebody will accidentally be on channel 1.
Yes.
They didn't have their radio in scan mode, and when they keyed up, they're on channel 1. Well, when they key up on channel 1, it switches everyone's radio to channel 1. Is that right?
Correct.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Channel 1's always not the best channel to talk on. More times than not, it's not a good channel.
Yeah.
Channel 4 is where we like to be. So when you hear a lot of static and we can't hear people, and that becomes a problem, it's because somebody keyed up on channel 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there are sometimes channel 1 is better. I mean, we used to run channel 1 for years.
Yeah, that's what I was going to explain,
So-
Dave. I mean, it's the same thing on using your tools. Don't we have 1, 2, 3, and 4? Is there 4
I
channels?
think so, yeah.
Yeah,
And each channel is a repeater.
exactly, Dave.
So depending on where you are in town,
That's exactly what I was
Yes.
going to say. It's like
Yep.
it's a tool. You know, if you're someplace and you're on channel 4, that's the reason we're talking about the scan. And you don't get a beep or can't pull it up, you can go to 2, you can go to 3, you can go to 1. When it beeps, you get a repeater. The base gets all the repeaters. So you can talk in that position, in that place, but the minute somebody keys up back on channel 4, it takes you back. But that's using your tools. You know, like, oh, I can't get out in Castle Rock, or I can't get there. I bet you can if you change channels. You know?
and it's been a number of years, but as I remember, repeater number 2 is more for like Boulder, Fort Collins, Loveland, kind of that northern mountain foothill area.
Yeah.
Repeater number 3 is like, let's say you can't get out in Idaho Springs, go to channel 3 and it will get out.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the mountains. I can't remember, I did have Johnny tell me, he's the radio guy. I did have him tell me exactly where the repeaters were, and I can't remember.
Yeah, and then he's moved them over the years too, Super Dave.
Has he?
Yeah, because I think the one was on Lookout.
He's got
For a
one
while.
he can damn near get us if we added 2 more or added to our channels.
So
He's got them.
Here's
We could
a
damn near
question.
talk to Fairplay.
Yeah. Are we ever going to maybe get a repeater tower up in the valley up there by Fairplay?
I don't know. I mean, it's up to Johnny. I mean, we've had the radio so long, and he's been such a good vendor for all these years. It's so weird. I don't know what we do if he ever decides to quit. I know that much.
Yeah.
Talk about
Because
communication.
I would assume that there's a repeater tower up in that area so we could talk to the Fairplay trucks.
Yeah, yeah. There's 2 more because there's so many like little valleys through
So
there.
we would need 2 to get
Yes.
out up there. Huh?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Jam. Yeah, if we finish talking about the radios, the puddle. I don't know. Like you started to say, Dave, if the puddle is just at plant 2, I know we've had some dry weather here, and probably the main puddle is at 2 now, but we're just talking about the way the truck looks, running the water in the rims, splashing it up on the fenders, and I know you guys think we're harping on the stuff, but the thing is when you come into the yard and the mud is throwing like over the front bumper because it's splashed off the front tires so much, or it's throwing past the quarter fenders, up on the quarter fenders back to your fuel tank from your rear drive, we know you went fast through the mud or fast through the water. and there's no point for that speed. I guess doing it better is what we're after.
Right.
You can't look good that way.
And the thing is, put yourself in that wash base position. They just took 2 hours to wash your truck when they could have washed 2 trucks in 2 hours. Is my point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we're after that. We want that level for all the fleet. Yeah. Why should they have to spend so much time on yours? Because you're doing something that we shouldn't really be doing.
Yeah, and we're having guys complain, hey, my truck hasn't been washed. Well, that's because they're scrubbing on these other guys' truck for 2 hours more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, think about it. If they had to hit all 4 trucks that were trashed that day, that's all they got washed that night was 4 trucks.
Yeah, they missed 4
where they could have washed 8, exactly.
Yep. And so you missed it for the night, and you go to the next numbers.
Yep.
Yeah, just
you see the puddle, it splashes onto your truck, and then it's white, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is because it's got cement powder in the water, and it's very acidic.
Absolutely,
and it destroys the aluminum.
Oh, the alkali in there is horrible.
It just destroys the aluminum.
Yeah, and what does everyone say that comes to work for us, Dave? I see your trucks everywhere, and they're so clean. Right. Well, help us keep them clean.
Yeah, after a while, they won't shine so well.
Yeah. And who's in control of that? Pretty sure the same person that's in control of those brakes.
You corrected me too, Dave. That is not acidic; it's alkali.
Well,
and it will. Yeah. But you're right, though. You're right. It's alkali, which is opposite of acidic. But either way, it's going to change the color of that aluminum.
Yeah,
and you will not be able to polish it out.
Yeah, neither of those chemicals are good for the aluminum. Right. How about we agree on that?
Yeah. No, it's alkali.
Yeah.
And I was thinking too. It feels like we're. Why should we drive around puddles and stuff like that? That's the way JFW wants it. If you go any place else driving, that's a good, not a good company, I guess a standout company. And usually standout companies have clean equipment. But, Tri-State, Commodities, they got some good old looking trucks.
The orange ones?
Yeah, the orange ones. They're not going to want you to drive that way. You see the propane trucks with all the round lights.
Farmers.
Yeah. They don't want you to drive your trucks that way. Yeah. They won't even let you drive for them unless the drivers vote you in.
Wow.
Yeah,
you have to go. Cool? You have to go through a process just to be a driver. They're not going to want you to wear their brakes out. You want to go, flatbed for some of the best companies, and then I like to think too that when we're talking about Jakes and stuff, I don't know through how many drivers I want to be a heavy. Haul guy. I want to haul big equipment. It's my passion. I think it's cool. Well, you don't last long in that industry if you can't run a Jake and shift and,
if you know how to come down the hill, forget it.
Yeah. And people, you get the reason there's
Roger. What channel were you on? Must have been on Scan.
Channel 4.
Yeah, you got on Scan. Yeah.
Been quiet because your radio's been on this whole time.
No, it's actually been off. I turned it on to see if I was in scam mode.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Gotcha. And I was just going to finish up. The reason there's not many jobs in heavy haul is because the guys that get that job get to keep that job, and everybody else is a steering wheel holder. So yeah, it's not just about us. It's about your future as a driver if that's what you want to be. But even if
it's perfecting your craft.
Yeah, even if you quit being a driver and you move to something else, you have to be the best at that, and you have to practice your skills of being the best at that in everything you do.
I was going to say, the way you do one thing is the way you're going to do everything. If you don't want to perfect your craft as a CDL Class A driver, you're probably not giving 100% to a lot of things in your life. So.
Yeah, and I don't know if it fits that kind of thing. I seen a little quote. I tried to think about it the other day that losers concentrate on the winners and the winners concentrate on winning.
Right. Well, that picture of Phelps swimming. Do you know what picture I'm talking about? He's swimming, and the guy that's racing against him is looking
at him
to see where Phelps is at. Phelps he's focused on winning.
Yep. Absolutely.
There might have been a bong at the end of that lane. I don't know. All right, last item on the discussion list, distracted driving. I know we've just talked about this over and over and over again, but apparently we need to keep talking about it. It doesn't matter what you're doing to be distracted. If you're distracted, you're distracted. If you are on your phone, you're distracted. If you're playing music on your phone and you're focused on your phone, you're distracted. If you got your head stuck in the cooler and you're not looking at the road, you're distracted. If you're on the phone, even on a headset, but you can't focus on driving because you're talking, you're distracted. So distracted driving looks like a lot of different things. It's not just mobile phone usage, or it's not just texting on your phone. The phone is the biggest thing because it's so easy to be distracted by your phone, right? We can't focus on a text conversation and on the road at the same time. I don't care who you are. So distracted driving is distracted driving is distracted driving. It doesn't matter what's making you be distracted. Just knock it off.
Yeah, we had a pretty close call last week.
Yeah.
From distracted driving, from phone use.
Yep.
It was a wake up call
from a tenured driver.
Yeah, and one of the things that
Wait a second.
can eliminate that.
Tenured is 5 years.
No, he's not there.
Not yet.
No. Okay.
Close.
Oh, I gave.
That's actually
he's not there.
That's actually part of the equation. People that have been driving for a long time, they think they can handle it.
Right.
Because, hey, I'm a good driver. Oh,
Yeah.
I can do that.
Good point, Dave.
And it's
Good point.
overconfidence. It's, it's not
Yeah.
true.
If you think you're
Not cool.
if you think you're a good safe driver, but you're driving distracted, you're not a good safe driver.
Yeah.
And actually, Jam, you're absolutely right that driver was not tenured here, but he's tenured in his driving career.
Lots of experience.
Yes.
That's the reason it makes it look so bad too, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's the first thing you teach a kid when they get their license? Hey, don't be distracted.
Drink
by your
and
phone.
drive.
Don't be distracted by your phone. Well, they can't drink till they're 21.
Oh, okay.
Get their license at 16.
I'm so old. When my kids learned how to drive, there was no cell phones.
Right? Just had to worry about them drinking, huh, Dave?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, there definitely was alcohol.
Well, you're probably better off drinking and driving than being distracted.
You're right.
Yeah, 'cause you're drinking,
you've
you're
said
actually-
that several times, yeah.
You're actually looking at the road.
Yeah.
So.
So one of the things I brought up, and maybe it's a change of conversation from our end. Kendrick and I were talking about it Saturday, and we're all like, "Oh, you need that dash mount for your phone. You need that phone in front of you. You need that, all this, that, and the other." We're so focused on that phone position. Guess what? Maybe the phone should just be in your lunchbox, and then when you need it, you stop at the pit or you stop at the plant or wherever you're stopped at. You pull the phone out, you reply to the text, and then you put it back in your lunchbox, and you're not distracted by it. You're not even tempted to look at it if it's not on your dash. It's put away in your lunchbox, and it's kind of one of the things that Kendrick and I talked about Saturday, and to try and make things better. And all of us have been like, "Oh, you need that in a different position." We've gotten on a few drivers that have it mounted at the bottom of their dash. We're like, "Hey, you need that up so it's in your line of vision, so you can see the phone and the road at the same time." Wrong answer.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, physiologically, right, if you're looking up, you could see what's down. If you're looking down, you can't. Like, if you look at the ceiling, I'm looking at the corner of that ceiling right now, I could see that chair sitting on the ground.
You have peripheral vision.
Yeah, but if I'm looking at that chair right now, I don't see the ceiling.
Yeah.
Right.
So eyes, aim high and steering is one of the...
I get it.
Yeah.
But what's the best way to keep you focused on the road?
Don't look at your phone.
Take your distraction off of the phone. How do you do that? You don't have the phone on the dash.
Yep.
You don't look at it if it's not on the dash. Put it in your pocket and sit down. Put it in your lunchbox. Easy to say, hard to do, but very important. I'm guilty.
Yeah, and guilty of it, Dave. Yeah, I was just the other day. I was driving and I was on the highway, and somebody called, and I was like, I just have to pull over. I have to have this conversation, and I can't half-ass listen and half-ass drive. And I think it was on I-25, and it was at one of the end of the on-ramps, and I was just able to get over off the side, put my four-ways on. It wasn't anybody's way, but I got done with the phone call, and I'm like, and I was trying to pull back out in traffic, and you all know how I-25 is, and I'm like, well, that was a really good phone call, but what a bitch to get back out on the highway.
Good place to stop.
Yeah.
How many times have you been on the phone and missed your turn?
Oh yeah,
It's happened to everybody. I just funny story. I was talking to Vince last night at the fuel island, and we were talking about that very thing. And he goes, "Have you ever been on the turnpikes in Pennsylvania?" And I was like, "Nah, I probably have. I can't remember, over the years that I've been across the country." But he goes, "Well, you know what? I don't know if it was like the Pennsylvania Turnpike or not, but he said the exits are 50 miles apart.
Wow.
He goes, I was on the phone and I missed my exit and I had to go 52 miles to turn around and pay a toll. And I was just like, oh my God. Wow. He goes, that's the last time that ever happened. So essentially he had to go 100 miles to get back to where he was going.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah, good hour and a half lost.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. Questions from the audience. Ryan Emmerling, when we are all under one roof, will we still call it Yard 23?
Absolutely.
He was in the office the other day, Dave, and I told him I didn't think so.
I think it will forever be Yard 23 for me.
Yeah. I told him.
I think it's just cool.
I told him we may have to have a contest and try to rename it.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I still call it the West Yard. So
I do too, Jim. Boy, that's a hard one.
Definitely guilty.
We can call it W23.
W23.
There you go.
It's a hard habit to break.
Ricardo Cordova, great question here. In your opinion, what is an exemplary employee?
200,000 miles out of a set of brakes.
There you go.
And comes to work every day and enjoys their job.
Nice.
Enjoys hanging out with people.
Yeah.
So
accident free.
Yeah, all those things.
Right.
I thought about it because I told you guys earlier when I started. I thought that was a great question, and I think if you, how do I put this? You in your heart know if you're a good employee, and you do the right things. You follow the rules. You have the company radios on. All that kind of stuff. That's the rules part of it that makes you a great employee. But there's also that piece of, we talk about hardwires, and we made that announcement. I don't know how we're doing this week on hardwires, but if I run across people that are just salty because of that rule and have an attitude and you just know that's the problem and everybody complains about them having that problem in that situation, that they're mad about it, that employee could follow every rule. Be here on time, be here every day, get 200,000 miles out of the brakes. But that's not the cultural employee that we want to have.
I was going to say, for me, it starts with attitude. You got a good attitude. You're a good culture fit. That's where it starts. Being humble, is important to me. And just owning your stuff. Being an exemplary employee to me doesn't mean you're perfect. To me, it's somebody that's got a good attitude, that's humble, and it can own their mistakes and fix them. And and
I started to mention, obviously, we talked about being accident free, shows up to work every day, started listing these requirements. And I'm sure someone's, listening to this going, well, he didn't talk about being kind. He didn't talk about, the culture like you're talking about, Jim. Right. Not always, but I would tell you well over 90% of the time, when you have the other attributes that I mentioned, you've already got the culture. You're thinking of someone else when you drive around that puddle because you're trying to help them make their job easier cleaning that truck. Not abusing the brakes on that truck is trying to help the shop. You're thinking of other people. When you think of other people, you've got our culture. You're not just thinking of, I got to hurry up and get this next load. Yep. Mama needs tennis shoes next week. And you know what I mean? Whatever the case may be, just 100% focused on your worry. And I think that, to a degree, I guess I want to stick by my statement that typically when you've got those other things already, the culture comes with that. Not always.
Right. So I'm going to say, and this isn't to be funny, I'm sure you're going to snicker, but if you're a person that doesn't put your shopping cart away, you're probably not an exemplary employee here at JFW.
That's what I did a poor job explaining it. Dave, you just did a better job, and Jam, you capitalized on it. That's what you already know if you're a good employee because you're putting the shopping cart away. Yep. You want to go around the puddle. You don't want to use your brakes. And that builds on that complimentary employee. And again, it's not, that question, like you're asking JFW, but that's something else you can take with you no matter what job you have. Mm-hmm.
Dave, you hire all the employees here and you haven't said a word. So what is the next?
I can't get a word in edgewise, so I'm just being quiet and listening. So my answer to that is people who exhibit the capabilities of being an everyday leader. And an everyday leader is not somebody giving orders. It's not somebody that's designated to be in charge. It's somebody that sees the situation and will do their very best to improve any given situation.
Well put.
Profound. Nice job, Sue.
Well put.
So I was doing an interview last night, not an interview, but a one-on-one meeting, and I asked the driver, what's your goals for the next few weeks? And he's like, I want to stand out. I want to be, I want to stand out from everybody, and I was like, okay. And we just started talking about the Silent Warriors. I was like, we people do stand out here and they get rewarded for that, and they get flowers, or we recognize that, right? And then I was like, we got people that just come to work every day, don't make a lot of noise, they're not a squeaky wheel, and that also stands out so much that we have a banquet every year for these people because they just do it so well and they do it quietly.
The Silent Warriors.
Yep. So,
yeah, that's a tricky question that he asked, Jam, really.
Yeah.
Because you to stand out is not to stand out.
Yeah, to stand out around here, we talk about all the time. Like, if you just do it the right way, you're standing out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Chili Dog, let me pull up his text message. He said he had a few questions, and I wrote down two of them, and then I saw the whole text, and holy moly. Good morning, Jam. I have a couple questions for the podcast today, and these are from Aladdin or Chili Dog. What are the specs for the new Western Star trucks? Number one, horsepower and torque.
A lot, as much as we could get in them.
Yeah, they're the same as what we've got, 500 horsepower.
Yep.
They're 1,700 torque, not 1,850.
Okay, so let's talk.
So, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of nothing.
What type of transmission?
Same transmissions we've got in everything. Our current transmission is a Packard 12-speed. This transmission is called the Endurant 12-speed. It is the same identical transmission. Cummins calls their transmission the Endurant. They partnered with Packard, Eaton, and Cummins, Packard, and Eaton
Cummins partnered.
created this transmission.
Yep.
So they just happen to call theirs Endurant. You can take the parts out of a Peterbilt transmission, put it in a Kenworth transmission, take those two combined parts, take it out, and put it in the Endurant behind the Western Star.
Except, and I'm not trying to argue with Dave, I think what I'm looking forward to is Packard has nothing to do with it. That's the thing here.
Yeah.
You couldn't really take a Packard transmission and put it in our trucks, or like the Western. It would fit, but the computer won't
read it.
Yeah, and that's the exciting thing is we can go to Eaton now, or we can go to Cummins now and get the full programming. And Dave was reading some stuff on it that the Cummins motor communicates with their transmission better. They have different parameters. What was the one you were telling me about, Dave? Do you remember what the
on-ramp technology? If you have the GPS that helps you accelerate faster on the on-ramp, and I don't know that we'll have that because that would be another GPS for us service that we're paying for. So
yeah.
I mean, that was just one of the things. I think they called it the XE package.
Yeah.
And there was 100 things with that. But yeah, because Cummins helped create the transmission, their electronics with it, we're hoping will interface with each other a lot better than the Packard MX engine and transmission.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Does he have a bunch of questions? Yeah. I was just going to tell him more about the truck. That was as we went through it. But go ahead, Jam. I don't want to take questions away.
Yeah, no problem. What are the gear ratios and why?
Should be 342s, the same as what the rest are.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Okay. What's the wheelbase?
250, the same as what we've been buying for the last 15 or 20 trucks.
Be 20 now.
So
longer than
frames.
his what his should be is 220.
Frames.
Yeah, the red frames are 250.
Yep.
What type of suspension? Is it the same as the current Freightliner?
It is the...
Gosh, I read it, Dave. Fleet Air? It says something on it.
Yeah, it should be the same as our Cascadias.
Yeah.
So it's got the front air ride.
It does not have the front air ride. The Western Star does not have that. So it is a 2-leaf spring on the front.
Got it. What's the empty weight, and what weight are you hoping to achieve hooked to a trailer?
Empty weight's 15,450. So it's about 450 pounds heavier than our PACCAR product. And whatever, I mean, I kind of always just round that to a 10,000 pound trailer. The 38s are heavier than the 35s, and we've got some intermingling there. So you're still between 26,000 pounds.
Yeah.
What's so cool about this is Dave's over here like Rain Man, just rattling these things off from his head.
Yeah, you're doing a good job, Dave.
I'm not looking it up, am I, Jam?
Nope.
That's because he goes over and over and over. You know, just like when you ask about the gear ratios and stuff, Dave, or Jam, I'm like, do you know how many times we've been over the gear ratios in the trucks, and what's the optimum pulling? What's the optimum fuel?
Yeah.
What's the transmission or the rear end that's going to hold up, that it doesn't get too too high?
Is it the off-road application that we
yeah, off-road, on-road?
They're continuing to want to, and everybody says this different, or I say it different probably. They're continuing to want to raise our gear ratio, which means a lower number, right? But that's a faster rear end because because of the emissions over the last 20 years. They're doing what they're calling down speeding our engines, right? Again, I hate to say it, back in the day, we used to run our Cummins at 2,100 RPM, right? And then our Cats came around, and they're like, oh, those are 1,800. And then we got newer Cats, and those are 1,600. And, now, gosh, what's the 3 green lights, the sweet spot on our PACCAR? Is that between like 12 and 1,500 or something like that?
Lower than that, I think. Dave.
I think so, yeah. Actually, probably,
We tell everybody full torque at 900.
Yeah, right. So they're down speeding. What that means is lowering the RPMs of the engine, or recommending. The engines still go that high. There's just no power at those RPMs, right? So your peak torque and performance are where the 3 green lights are, and fuel mileage at that RPM. And I apologize, I can't spit that out because I don't stare at the dash all day long.
Sure.
But let's say between 11 and 1350 or somewhere around there, around that range. And so anyway, in order to achieve that, and lesser emissions, they're down speeding the engines. They're still capable of 22, 2300, with the Jakes, 2100 with the foot throttle, but they're down speeding them and creating more power to lower RPM. So they're wanting a higher gear ratio. So, it sounds oxymoronic, but we're dropping, we do have some trucks here in the fleet that are less than 342s. Oh, wow. And I think those are 324s. I think they're opposite. And they're taught like a road truck. We're actually seeing road trucks below 3 now. I think. Wow. I think some of them. I want to say I'm going to spit out a 294 gear ratio. And you got to go back when we first started. Man, Dad had some trucks with 533s, right? And then we came around to get to like 490s, and then it was 473s, and then it was like we got down to the 3s, and
355s. Didn't we run 355s for a long time?
Well, we had 390s in some of the first Pete's, Jim, and
it was 355s.
That was the next. That was like the road truck,
right? But the 289 Pete's, those were 390s, right? And then we're like, oh, those are just too low geared with the 18 speed, and even with the double over, and then we were dropping to 370s, and then we're 355s, and here we are, just still hovering around that number, getting down to the low 3s now. So anyway.
How low can you go?
Yeah, right.
Pretty soon we got 55s.
Which is how low can you go, which is how high you end up.
Right.
Yeah.
Funny.
Thank you, emissions.
If it's the X12 Cummins, what are they looking forward to switching it up from a PACCAR? And you kind of touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, part of that was weight, Dave. We're trying to control weight, and that's their premier engine that they'll have to go do away with because of emissions, right, Dave?
Yeah, in 2 years that engine goes away.
Yeah, with emissions, but it was more of a weight issue, and that has the best as far as correct
weight in class is what they call it.
Yeah, is you're looking for the best of everything. Your weight, your horsepower, your torque, your Jake braking, everything, all in everything. And then also looking for your fuel mileage. And a little bit of research I did on them because we were worried to go from the PACCAR product to the Cummins product, which these 5 we get in the fleet, we need to run the hell out of them because we need to test them.
Yep.
We need to find out what their fuel mileage is. But the research I did, they were talking some fleets are getting 8 to 9 miles a gallon out of those. And I'm like, and it said, like the 9 mile an hour, that was to gallon, that was exceptional fleets,
Sure,
to me, that's, what is it, Vasily, Mesa Valley or whatever.
Well, it's probably somebody all over the road at sea level.
Yeah, could be, Dave, yeah.
Or just no mountain.
Yeah, no mountain, yeah. And so that, but all of that, Jam, is that motor, and if it's successful, that's something we will probably switch to because of the problems we've had with PACCAR. I mean, until they get some stuff fixed, we're just basically always looking for the best.
Yeah, it was kind of cool, Jam, because yesterday I was just researching some information on it, because the engine's been around since 2015, so it's got 7 years, and prior to 2015, and I hate saying this, but I'm going to say it, we ran it elsewhere, not in North America, meaning in Europe. And it's actually got 1 billion miles of testing out of the USA.
Got it.
And then we've been running it here in the US since 2015, and here we are at 2023, and these are actually 2024 model trucks. So, when we get them here, they're 2024 Western Stars. But anyway, I stumbled across this YouTube video, and it was a truck pull contest, right? So they're out on this dirt track in farmland USA, and this one guy, he rolls up there, and he's got the predecessor to the X12, and it falls in between like the X12 and the X15, but it was the N14 Cummins, and it was 500 horse, 1850 foot-pounds of torque, and the atypical truck drivers driving it. And it was a badass truck, you guys. It had the big stainless wing on top, dual 8-inch stacks. They even had a custom hood on it with the hood scooped down the center of it, and huge bumper. And man, he rolls out on the track there, hooks up to the sled, and he drags that sled 262 feet. And I laugh because Cummins' truck in this video, it's just a little short hood Freightliner Cascadia, one stack, and it's just all white, and it's got Cummins painted on the door. And this dude's like, I'm going to go do my best to get out here and outpull this big truck, And, when the big truck was going down the track, like just 2 black plumes of smoke, man, audience just like, here comes this little, it was even like a 206-inch wheelbase Cascadia, right? I mean, you went from
Hot Wheels truck.
Yes, oh my gosh, it was so embarrassing, and it's only the second time this dude has ever pulled, and he pulled against the same guy at not the same track, but same guy like 2 months prior at another track somewhere else. This time they were in Ohio, and last time they were in like Pennsylvania or something. And all the Cummins guy kept saying when they interviewed him is, I learned a lot at that one pull. I learned a lot at that one pull. I hope to do well at this one. And, a little Cascadia, he sticks in reverse. Beep, beep, beep. A little backup light comes on, and he backs up, and they hook up the sled. And he just hammers it, man. I mean, he takes this little Cascadia, walks right down the track, and they had a mark setting at 262. He blows right past it and rolls 275 out.
Wow.
Never a drop of smoke, never anything. And the dude in the big truck was like, shit, I just got my ass whooped by a dork.
Wow.
But it was so cool to see.
Yeah.
That's where the technology, this guy's in a 20-year-older truck, right? And I hate to say it, man, just rolling coal out. And that's what everyone hates about our industry, right? What used to be cool isn't cool anymore. No one who isn't in the trucking industry wants to see any black smoke coming out of a stack, right? I mean, the stack in that Freightliner was spotless, just like ours. Yeah. I mean, so clean you could wipe it clean. There's rust in there. There's no carbon, right? And I have to say it. I mean, we followed a ton of tandems out of the asphalt plant up here in Quebec, leaving, and man, you have to roll up the window because they're smoking so bad as they go down Quebec from idling there, waiting to get their load of asphalt. But it was just cool. It was a really cool video to watch, and the tried and true old school truck. It did the job, but did it do as well as the new technology? Not even close. Not even close. I mean, that was only less than 15 feet that he beat him by, but that's a mile in tractor pulls. I mean, that's a mile. You beat somebody by 1 inch, you got bragging rights. He beat him by several feet. Yeah, so that was pretty cool.
Huh. Yeah. Chili Dog asks, are they going to be added to the fleet or replacing older trucks?
They're going to replace older trucks. One will be added.
So we'll go +1.
Yeah.
Okay. Final question, will they be installing 22-inch bumpers?
Probably not. They have a pretty cool bumper on them, Jam, is my guess, and it's got a pretty good brace.
I was going to say, they reinforced?
Yeah. Not at the bottom, in the centers, though. I mean, they're I guess we'll have to run it and see what happens, Jam.
Do you know how much a bumper is on one of those?
How much they cost?
Yeah, like if we had an accident.
I don't think it's going to be a Cascadia bumper cost, but every accident costs. I don't want to make it like we can hit those bumpers. They don't cost anything.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, our 22-inch or 20-inch deep Pete bumpers with the brace on there, I think they're $500 to $700. Right. The Freightliner bumper with the wraparound, it's fucking
$3,000.
Sorry, whoops. It's it's
$3,200 or something.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Could be more.
Yeah. Any more questions from?
No, he just said thank you. Hope y'all have a beautiful day.
Yeah, same to you, Chili. Thanks for all the questions, man.
We got to go spend some time with the truck before they PDI it and bring it over, Jam. And there was a lot of stuff I liked about the truck that, like under the passenger seat, they put a toolbox. So you raise the cushion up, and there's a nice toolbox, so your stuff doesn't need to be out in the cab. It's not huge, but you can put all your windshield cleaner in there, your paper towels and stuff like that. Keep the cab clean. Nice. I like the way the dash was laid out. The CB goes on the company radio will probably go on the dash. The CB up in the console, but they're more of a construction stuff. Stacks were hard mounted to the cab, so you shouldn't have any squeaks, stuff coming loose. Yeah. I loved we have the toolboxes back in the frame like the Freightliners, but the box covering your step, I mean, that's all stainless steel, or I guess it's is it stainless, Dave, or aluminum? I guess it's a polished aluminum. They have chrome trim under both the doors. I'm going to call it a one box, which is not this name, but where the DPF is, that's a beautiful cover over the other side. Nice. The hood, the radiator stays fixed. I know it does on the other trucks, but it actually, the grill and radiator stays fixed when you open the hood. A little bit different look.
Yeah, so when the hood's open, you could actually lean down and step in where the grill was.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The grill stays when you open the hood.
Yeah.
You got it.
Yeah. And the just going around it, I like the bracing, the seat, it's a bigger cab, all that stuff. There was just a lot of
When will we see the first one here?
Hopefully Monday or Friday afternoon.
Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should
a couple of days.
Yeah, a couple of days.
Hey, I just got a cool email. Let me read this to you real quick. It says, hey, Jam, I just wanted to say thank you to the JFW family so much for the amazing gift card for my birthday coming up. You guys are amazing, and I've started listening to your podcast every Wednesday. Thanks again. Have a great week. Kiana Gobbert, in parentheses, Ron Bugler's significant other.
Oh, very
fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks, happy
Kiana.
birthday.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right on. Anything else for the discussion, guys?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the tips and tricks from Ray Davis. Ray says, know your materials. We haul different materials every day to plants. We haul 3/4 wash rock to many plants, and it can be called different names. It can be called 3/4 wash rock, 5767, or just 57, or 67 rock. Yes, it is the same, but they call it different names, so you always need to read your axon. We also haul 3/4 river rock. River rock is 3/4 washed river rock, but it's a different color and shape. If you're ever not sure what bin or stockpile to dump, ask if there is no one there to climb up on the trailer and grab a handful and compare it to the materials to be able to dump it in the right pile. It is better to take the extra few minutes to double check than to dump in the wrong pile. Amen. We also haul lots of sand. From far away, squeegee pile can look like sand, so always when you get out to open your gate, take the time to walk back and make sure your dogs are open and check the material in that bin or stockpile that it is sand and not squeegee. You should always familiarize yourself with all the materials. Morton has a little area outside the scale house that has all the different materials they load. You can see the difference in size and color of the materials. Also, do you know the difference in washed and dry? Wash goes to concrete plants and dry goes to asphalt plants. The biggest thing is to always ask. Don't just load anything. You should ask if you don't know, make a call and check first. The dumbest question is one never asked. Hope all is well with everyone and their family and loved ones. Remember, safety has no blind spot, and sit up in that stool and look and lean and don't be that fool. Much love and respect always. 0013, Ray Ray.
Man, Ray Ray's got a lot of wisdom.
I love that. Right? Man, I love that,
What
Ray.
a great one.
Yeah.
Good job.
Speaking of great, Soup, you want to hit us with that great high road hauling?
Sure.
Yeah, can you beat last week's? It was a little long. But
I
it was
got
pretty
a
good.
lot of comments on last week's. Everybody really, really loved that.
It was a great one.
Yeah, and Don had a great story about his real life experience.
Didn't he though? That
Oh,
was just
yeah.
that gave me
Yeah.
goosebumps, Dave.
Sure did. This one is a little bit more run of the mill. But still, it is awesome because everybody wants to do good. Everybody wants to succeed in life and succeed with personal goals, professional goals. Anything you want to say, hey, I would like to have a nice car, or I would love to raise my kids well, or I want to live to be 95 years old, or whatever. But that is all considered a success. And so today's topic is about your road to success, and perseverance is your road to success. So Abraham Lincoln once said to a West Point cadet, I am older than you. I have felt badly myself, and know what I tell you is true. Adhere to your purpose, and you will soon feel as well as you ever did. On the contrary, if you falter and give up, you will lose the power of keeping any resolution and will regret it all of your life. So no one said that being successful in life is easy. It certainly isn't. Unfortunately, many people give up before they've even given themselves a chance to succeed in the first place. What's the point of persevering if you just give up in the end? Well, there are many reasons why perseverance is a good thing. Perseverance is important because you'll always face challenges in life, and it's a skill that pays off. At every stage of life, no matter who you are or how many goals you achieve, there will be barriers and obstacles that block your path. To overcome these challenges and move forward, you need perseverance. It's easy to give up when things get tough. It's easy to lose hope and think you can't make it through a difficult situation or time in your life. It's much harder to persevere. Many things can dissuade you from pressing onward for fear of failure, pain, loss. We want to sidestep the obstacles that make the road rough, but it is the rough road that your perseverance will smooth out in the long run. If you can persevere through one tough challenge, you have the skills to keep moving forward in the future. These skills include self-discipline, determination, endurance, intelligence, vision, and purpose. These are your ingredients for success. These are your superpowers. Do you know anybody who has succeeded at anything without pushing through tough situations or setbacks? No. Nothing worth achieving is gotten without cost. And that cost is time, energy, effort, focus, determination to succeed. In other words, perseverance. And the quote this week is, in the face of life's challenges, only a bird's eye view of time reveals the nature of failure, reminding us that fleeting snapshots are incomplete. Rejections are just stepping stones on the path to growth. Amidst life's twists, remember to hold on to your purpose. Uncertainty too shall pass. And that was spoken by Justin Kampf, PhD, motivational coach.
Nice. Very nice, Super Dave. I want to piggyback on that with my, just have a quote from my final thought, and it relates to that. The quote is, "Trials teach us what we are. They dig up the soil and let us see what we're made of." And that's from Charles Spurgeon. He was a preacher from the 1800s.
Absolutely. Very cool.
You never can expect everything to go smooth, right?
You can expect them not to go smooth.
Well, absolutely. Don't freak out when something throws a wrench into your plans, and that's when you gather up your grit and you figure out a way around it, and you say, all right, well, this is what we're going to do now, and you again, I've said this before, you don't focus on the problem, you focus on the solution, right?
I call that a field adjustment, Dave.
Yeah.
Field adjustments. Lots of field adjustments in life, right? You plan for one thing and you just keep moving forward, and that's what a grinder does, right? You just keep grinding. Some days you can grind 3 feet, and some days you have to back up and redo what you ground yesterday.
Right.
Matter of fact, I think that's going to be my final comment. I'm just going to leave it at that. Be better. I'll leave that one. Be better. Drive that truck like you have to put brakes on it. Drive that truck like you have to wash it. Drive that truck like you have to do all the maintenance to it, and it'll make you a better driver.
And also pay for it. Drive it like you got to pay for it.
Yeah. Good point, Jim. Yep.
Yeah, a couple of mine for you and Jam and Super Dave there about your perseverance and, dig up the dirt and see what you're made of. And I ran across this quote and it really fits. So always remind yourself that your track record of making it through bad days is perfect. And if you really think about that, perseverance. I mean, how many of us have been through a bad? We've all made it.
Yeah,
we do have a perfect record.
Yeah,
just like you said, make a field adjustment. You won. It's perfect. You've won. You survived.
Yesterday was terrible, and here we are.
Right. Yeah, Jam. I mean, it is so simple to think of it that way, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and then just like you guys.
I got to interrupt you, Jim, just because of comments. You always have people, like Mike Bortz has coined so many comments around here. And Jerry Dittmer's one, he'd went through some financial rough hardships with him and his dad and a business that they had. And, Jerry was just beside himself, and his dad finally looked at him, and, he was talking about creditors coming after him. And his dad looked at him and said, well, what are they going to do, son? Eat you?
Right.
He's like, they're not. They just want some money. You'll be here tomorrow. You'll be here the next day, and you'll get through it.
Right.
So I thought that was an interesting way to look at it. And what a good point, Jim. We'll be here tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're getting through it. And then the thing I told you, the one about sadness sits right next to love, but the other one, and people have heard this: treat your body like a house you have to live in for another 30 years. I would have to say that too. That treat that truck like that's the same truck you got to drive for the next 70 years.
Yeah.
If you would. And then just a couple things here. So the other one is, no one has ever argued their way to happiness. Thought about that too, right?
Huh.
I just
kind of an aha comment.
Think about that the next time you're arguing with somebody, right?
Right. I mean, I can't think of any time I've ever argued and then I was like, oh, I'm just as happy as can be. It doesn't seem to work that way.
Huh.
And then a lot of this was with a group of things that old people, 40 things that old people have said. So there was a lot of just different comments on, oh, how great, and I've never thought about the arguing to your happiness and all that kind of stuff. But one of the I don't know, Jan, what do you call, like on TikTok and Instagram? It's like your handle or your call sign. What would you call that when they? What is that?
Your Instagram name?
Yeah, your name. I guess that's just what it is. Anyway, one of the people that commented, and they had a really good comment about it, but their name was just a simple nobody. And you've said it. You don't like when you like talk badly about yourself. You know,
self-talk. It's important.
Yeah, and I just was like, here's somebody that's reading this, has some great stuff, but their name is just a simple nobody. And I'm like, just remember, everybody, you're not just a simple nobody.
Wow.
That's how I wanted to end it.
Everyone is someone.
Yep.
No doubt. Excellent. Anything else, Sue?
No, sir.
You're good. All right. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the Channel 23 podcast. Our new goal, 220. If we could get 5 people that listen today to hit that follow button, that would be awesome.
220, 221, whatever it takes.
Yes. Also, don't forget to go back and listen to episode 72 to help find Amber's mom. Links to her story will be in the description of today's podcast. And we're also going to put a link to Rico's GoFundMe in today's description as well. So if you feel moved to contribute to that or watch some of the videos and stuff on Amber's mom, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Let's say the creed and get on out of here.
Sounds
Nice.
good.
Together we face and overcome all that stands before us. Together we are accident-free. Together we joyfully create honest value for those we serve. Together we celebrate our differences and respect those with whom we work. Together we are accountable for our words and our actions. Together we are the JFW family.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. And
Have a great week, everyone.
See ya.
I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. Well, it's a family tradition, any Rocky Mountain Day. Our fathers before us showed us the way. We worked for asphalt cowboys and concrete kings, but that's never been a problem, cause we got diesel in our veins. We've got diesel in our veins. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. I hear there's a couple million tons to move. I see them everywhere. So you best get out their way and watch that sand and gravel disappear. There's another run to make. We gotta get it there on time. And we got what it takes to lay it all out on the line. We'll lay it all out on the line. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks got the best drivers in town. They got all the tools they need to keep that hammer down. When they hit them scales, they won't need to dodge them, won't need to duck them. They just keep that hammer down, and they keep that diesel trucking. Keep that hammer down, and keep that diesel trucking. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-looking for another load. They just keep them doors a-closed, keep them butts in their seats, cause those customers are calling, and those red trucks can't be beat. They've gotta put the hammer down and pick up another load. Get it off the ground, keep them eyes open and on the road. Keep them eyes open on the road. I see those big, bright, shiny red trucks just a-trucking down the road. Those big, bright, shiny red trucks just looking for another load. Breaker 23, anybody got a copy on that Channel 23 podcast? Welcome, and thanks for listening.